perfect team, but there isn't many in the salary cap era.
All right, joining us now, General Manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Kyle Dubas. Kyle, first of all, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time. I just want to start off by maybe asking you about the kind of day it was, or at least the few days building towards today, and how at times is it emotional? I know it's your emotions versus what's practical, all the while watching maybe other teams make moves. So how did that all play out mentally for you?
Yeah, thanks, guys. For us, I think we spent a lot of time, for the first maybe 20 or so games of the season, really breaking down how our team was progressing, how we matched up, and areas we wanted to address. And then really, as trade conversations and such begin to pick up as they do, really begin to narrow our focus on the players that we were looking to acquire. And two of them happened to be on the same team in Seattle, and Mark Giordano and Colin Blackwell. So we were able to make the deal with them as part of our plan, and we'd also had interest going back a while to Ilya Lyubushkin in Arizona, and then there was a fit there with Nick Ritchie going the other way. So I think we just stuck with our plan. Obviously, there's always a lot going on around us. We're in a very difficult division, which I think is the best thing for our group as we continue to grow and mature. I think if you get emotional, it's when I think you can make mistakes, and I've learned that from the past, going back to my time in junior more so than here. But I think you have to have a plan well thought out during the year, and then try to execute it to the best of your ability when you're up against competitions and trade talks and salary cap and so on and so forth.
Did the cap restrictions that you were dealing with have did that play a big factor on maybe the things that you did or maybe could have done?
I think this year we had a little bit more flexibility, actually, Nick. I think that the thing that was for us, one of the challenges was just the players that we had who were injured, and you want to protect against them being able to come back. So you don't want to overspend and prevent them from coming back onto the roster in the regular season. So and on that vein, namely Jake Muzzin, and being able to have Jake return to the lineup when he's healthy and cleared to do so, which he seems to be making progress towards. So if he were, some of the teams that made some larger scale moves are teams that have players that are definitely going to be out in the long run. And for us, we just thought it was more important to give Jake the ability to come back and come back in great form than it would be to use up all of the space that we're afforded with him on long-term injury. So that was really the thing that was the balance for us, was improving the team as best we could while also keeping it flexible for our injured players to be able to return to the lineup.
Kyle, a healthy Toronto Maple Leafs decor is pretty darn good on the left side. A lot of available options. When you guys made the Giordano deal, what did you see as the best fit for him? Do you see him being reunited with Brody? Is he more likely to play less minutes? What did you have in mind when you acquired Giordano?
I think for us, I just wanted to be able to give the coaching staff as many options as possible, Justin. I mean, it was, with Gio, we obviously know that he and TJ Brody have had a lot of success playing together before, and I think that's a luxury to have when you acquire a player, especially a defenseman that has played with one set partner for a long time. I think that's and had a lot of success together. So that was for us, we were evaluating Gio on his own, but knowing he can come in and sort of fit in with TJ is great. Now we have that in our back pocket. It'll be up to Sheldon and Dean Chenoweth and the coaching staff to go through and figure out how they want to really configure it all. TJ can play the right. We've had Ilya Lyubushkin and Timothy Liljegren kind of ascend into really good players for us. So for me, I was just trying to give the coaching staff as many options as possible, and as Sheldon will tinker with it here down the stretch and find the best possible combination of six heading into the playoffs.
Is there any worry that I know he's 38, he's not 40, but you got to kind of protect him a little bit here too as well. I know there's a pace of play that some of your players have that is amongst the best in the world here, but where he fits in and, can he play a top four?
Yeah, I think he has been, Nick, for forever, and certainly was in that role with Seattle this year, and of course with Calgary. I think with all of our D, I think that was the key for us was we don't just want to rely on the one pair. We want to be able to spread the minutes around, and we want to be able to build a group of 6 or 7 or deeper that could really go out against anybody, where we weren't just leaning heavily on one set. So, we know different pairs of work and have worked well in the past, whether that's been Morgan and TJ, or Jake Muzzin and Justin Hall, or TJ and Mark Giordano. So, we add into that mix, others in Liljegren and Lyubushkin, and the way that Timothy has come along this year, and the element that Lyubushkin has brought to us since coming over from Arizona. And, I think I just want to be able to give the coaches, 6 or 7 guys, plus our younger guys in depth that they feel can go out and play, so they didn't have to overload one certain pair.
Kyle, I think all the contenders are in the same boat in that, if your goaltending is not very good, it's not going to go very well. Obviously, there's been some question marks there for you guys, in 2022 here. What do you see happening with the 3 guys who seem to be your goaltenders going forward? What's the best case scenario? How do you see the crease playing out going into Game 1 of Stanley Cup playoffs?
Well, I think for me, Bourne, the best way that it goes is that all 3 of the guys, particularly the 2 more established NHL goaltenders, just play to the way they have in their career thus far. So Jack, I think the injury will be a bit of a blessing in disguise for him. Lets him recharge and put some work in with our coaching staff and really hone in on his game. When you're playing every other night or every 3 nights or 2 or 3 times a week as a goaltender, and you have that on your mind as you do when you're healthy, I think the focus on practice and goaltending session can take a back seat to the games, as it should. So with him being hurt now and having to climb his way back in, I think it's really let him put in some good work with the coaching staff and the performance staff off the ice. And the thing about Jack that I'm always so encouraged about is he has a long record of always being able to find his game when he has stretches that maybe he's not as happy with himself. And I know he's a little bit hard on himself, as everybody knows, but he's able to find himself and bounce back, and especially when people doubt him. With Peter, I think we just need him to continue to put in the work and get back to the goaltender that he's been for his whole career before coming here. So he's a 9-10 goalie in the NHL for nearly 300 games, and that's really just what we expect. And I think that starts in his work with Steve Briere, our goaltending coach, his work in the gym, and his work in practice, and just earn his confidence there and be able to put that into play on the ice. And obviously we then have, we've got Källgren, Wall, and Hutchinson behind them. And Källgren, it's a great story last week, came in and just solid and calm, and gave our team a chance in the games at home. And we'll see how he responds from the game on Saturday in Nashville. But for us, we feel confident in all 3. I think you have to especially feel confident in your people when it's not going as well. It's easy to believe in them when things are going great all the time. But these are particularly Campbell and Mrazek that have longer NHL track records, guys that have played very